They are loud, they are chaotic, and they not playing the game in a typical manner. They are Houston Rockets, but does it cause any problem for NBA? Houston has won 2 NBA championships and 4 Western Conference titles. The question that are the Houston Rockets causing any problem in this league can be studied in both perspective. It could be in a positive way, that are they changing the game or they messing around of the league was usually played? But this question cannot be answered in one line or two. To get the right answer, we have to dive in the detail to get a clear vision of how the things are going around. So, without any further delay, let's explore. Too many young stars. ESPN recently released their 25 under 25, a list of players younger than 25 years that they believe have the biggest potential for stardom. Only 2 teams had more than 2 players on the list, but the Rockets had 4 representatives. We can easily say that the Houston Rockets core is the best young core in the league. The ones in the list are Tari Eason at number 24, Amen Thompson at number 22, Jalen Green at number 20, Alperen Sengun at number 10. These 4 are not the only Houston Rockets young players that deserve a mention. We have to talk about Jabari Smith Jr., another wing that has the potential to be a star. He is only 21 years old and has the time to develop even more. This year, head coach Ime Udoka is running more plays for Smith, and the small forward has shown more confidence in himself. We also have Cam Whitmore, a second-year forward who is having a lesser role this season. His minutes dropped from 18.7 to 9.9, but that is because Udoka is employing a more spread-out rotation this season. Whitmore can also be used either as a trade chip or as a developmental project down the road. He is only 20 years old. Last but not least, there's Rockets rookie Reed Shepherd, who experts claim is the best shooter in this year's draft class. While Shepherd has not shown that yet, he is another young prospect the Rockets can develop. The Houston Rockets have young players that could be kept or traded for a star. Houston has so many high draft picks and coveted young players on its roster that the decisions on whom to pay and how much over the next 3 years are likely to be crucial. At some point, the Rockets seem almost certain to blast through the tax aprons, but they've worked to push back that moment, the Athletic insider John Hollinger wrote. Those decisions start with the guys who aren't even getting in the rotation right now. Reed Shepherd was the 3rd pick in the 2024 draft, but hardly played this season. Cam Whitmore has killed it in the last 2 summer leagues before retreating to the end of the Houston bench for the winter. And did I mention the Rockets could win the draft lottery this year? They have a pick swap with Phoenix, which has a 3.8% chance of landing number 1 and a 17.8% chance of hitting the top 4, although it is more likely to end up as the 9th pick. This is a good problem for the Rockets to have. Either they keep their top prospects and continue developing them, or they cash in for a star while giving these young players a chance to flourish elsewhere. Cultural shift. The Houston Rockets culture can influence players, and it's often a factor considered when players evaluate joining the team. The Rockets have a history of success and a strong brand, which can be appealing to players, but also have a recent history of less successful seasons, which might deter some. Recent changes, including the hiring of a new coach and the acquisition of key players, suggest an attempt to shift the culture towards a more competitive and winning mindset. The Rockets have 2 NBA championships and 4 Western Conference titles, creating a legacy of success that attracts players who want to be part of a winning team. The Rockets have a distinct H-Town identity, and their City Edition uniforms honor their championship era, which can resonate with players who want to be part of a team with a strong identity and connection to its city. The Rockets have had a bad reputation in recent years for having locker room drama, poor leadership, and players who don't care much about defense or teamwork. Some people feel like they're wasting talent because of bad habits and no real team culture. The Rockets have recently undergone changes, including hiring a new coach, Ime Udoka, and acquiring key players like Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, indicating a shift towards a more competitive and winning culture. The Rockets are trying to foster a strong team chemistry, which is crucial for success. Although the Rockets' culture is evolving, while the winning tradition and H-Town identity are appealing, the recent performance and the ongoing changes will play a significant role in shaping how players perceive the team and whether they choose to join. NBA's competitive balance and Houston Rockets. The NBA, like other North American sports leagues, employs rules such as draft, free agency, or salary cap to improve competitive balance. However, these rules mainly have long-term effects on competition by altering the distribution of talent and by including new players between seasons. While the Houston Rockets, like other teams, are subject to these rules, their specific situation is influenced by factors like their division, Southwest Division, and the presence of other strong teams in the area. The Rockets-Spurs rivalry is an NBA rivalry between the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs. It is considered one of the most bitter rivalries in the league, due to both teams being in the same division, contested games, and close proximity. It is also known as the I-10 rivalry since San Antonio and Houston lie on Interstate 10. It is one of the three National Basketball Association rivalries between teams from Texas, the others featuring Houston and San Antonio versus the Dallas Mavericks. The issue of competitive imbalance in the NBA has been widely studied, with researchers agreeing that the league often suffers from a lopsided distribution of talent. A key reason, as Barry et al. Explain, is that elite basketball talent is extremely rare, especially due to physical traits like height, which are limited in the general population. As a result, only a few teams tend to dominate because they're lucky enough to secure these rare talents. The Houston Rockets illustrate this imbalance clearly. After trading away James Harden in 2021, one of the few true 70% producers, the Rockets entered a sharp decline, finishing at or near the bottom of the standings for multiple seasons. Despite multiple lottery picks, including players like Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., and Amen Thompson, the team has struggled to find a true franchise-altering star who can match Harden's impact. Even with solid prospects and some veteran additions like Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, the Rockets remain stuck in what some analysts call the middle trap, not bad enough to guarantee another top pick, but not good enough to truly compete. This reflects the underlying structural issue in the NBA. Unless a team lands one of the very rare elite players, like a Jokic, Giannis, or LeBron, building a winning team is extremely difficult, even with smart coaching and management. Additionally, the Rockets' journey reinforces how imbalances aren't just about effort or spending, they're about scarcity of superstar talent, which is beyond owners' control. The Rockets didn't fail due to poor investment. They simply don't, yet, have a player capable of generating wins at the elite level required in today's NBA. The question of whether the NBA has a Houston Rockets problem doesn't have a simple yes or no answer. It depends on how one defines the problem. On one hand, the Rockets represent a typical rebuilding team, full of young talent, learning curves, and a few veteran additions to stabilize growth. Their recent rise in competitiveness could be seen as a healthy sign of the league's long-term balance, showing that struggling teams can bounce back with the right moves. On the other hand, their inconsistent identity somewhere between youth development and immediate competitiveness reflects broader uncertainty around how best to build sustainably in today's NBA. So while the Rockets may not be a problem in the traditional sense, they do expose real tensions in the league's competitive structure. In that way, the Rockets aren't an outlier, they're a mirror reflecting the NBA's deeper balancing act between star power, development, and parity.